Hey, what's up, everyone? It's Castillo. I hope everyone had a great Thanksgiving. Um, I know it's been a while, but we're getting back into the swing of things. I had to work on certain things, but we're back. Um, so I just wanted to talk about a little bit on a certain subject that's been kind of interesting to me, and that is cars and corridos. So, it's like it's alright if you can see my face a bit. It's on one of my videos, one of my other videos, you can see my face also, so it's not a big deal. But yeah, so I hope everyone's been okay. And we're gonna talk a little bit about corridos, cause cars and corridos. I mean, that's one of my favorite subjects. And if you're a fan of corridos, then you might be able to recognize some of these songs. Um, for example, one of the biggest hits I think in recent times has been Chewy Mauricio. Sorry, Chewy Mauricio. Um, so originally, this corrido it came out with Los Canelos de Durango. And if you know anything about corridos, then you know that this group, Los Canelos, are OGs in the game. They have come out with some of the best corridos ever. And one of those corridos that they came out with was Chewy y Mauricio. Um, so, I mean, if you don't know about this corrido in particular, it became a massive hit in the 2000s. El Potro de Sinaloa, that was his big hit. But originally, it was Los Canelos that came out with that. And so yeah, Los Canelos first got the song, and then it went over to that song did not chart, so it didn't chart. And hey, what's up, Chicago? What's up, Durango? So yeah, these guys they had the song first, Canelos de Durango, and that didn't go anywhere for whatever reason. It just wasn't hitting. So then what happened was they handed it over to El Potro, the Sinaloa, and he did I think his version was Banda with Banda, and that thing flew. It went to the top of the charts. And if you remember back in those days, that song was massive, huge song. And the song itself, what also caught a lot of people's attention was that I think what also helped it become a big hit was that at the time, if you remember, the Chrysler 300 was pretty popular, and so that song came out around that same time. And this song that sounds great, and it's mentioning this popular car, the Chrysler 300. It became a hit, and it became a really cool car within the whole corrido subculture for a while. And so what happened was, in real life, these two drug traffickers, Chuy, Mauricio, the corrido was based on real life, on these two real people, and These guys were in Paramount doing a deal, a marijuana deal, and they were in town to sell a couple pounds. And what happened was that they got ripped off, and the person in the back seat ended up shooting both of them in the back of the head. And so that's where the corrido comes from. That's where the big hit comes from. That incident in Paramount, California, and the car plays into that. The Chrysler 300 plays into that. But the one thing I found out that was interesting was that they were not talking about. In reality, they didn't have the Chrysler 300, the newer version, the one that kind of looks like a Rolls Royce. They had the older model, the one that was more. It had more roundish look to it. So yeah, man, these two guys they died, and unintentionally they became part of this massive hit. The other corrido is Chevrolet 4x4. The corrido was written, well, the corrido was a hit with Los Dos Grandes de la Sierra. You know, these guys put that song on the map, and I remember back in the day that was pretty big for me, at least. I mean, I don't know about everyone else, but for me it was. I mean, I heard it plenty of times, and so I just remembered the I used to work in a warehouse back in the day, and I would just one day I had just heard it the day before, and I was so psyched about it. I was so because this was something very new to me, and it was very different from like let's say Los Tigres del Norte. I mean, the only other group that I guess was kind of doing that kind of same thing at the time was Explosión Norteña. But this song, yeah, it paints a pretty, I mean, realistic picture. And I remember bumping that song way back in the day. You know that in the song they're talking about the Chevy pickup, and I'm assuming that they were talking about the Chevy Silverado pickup. And so that was my song back in the day. Chevrolet 4x4. That song will forever be a classic. Um, so yeah, that's another corrido that had a classic car in the mix. Another one is Rigoberto Campos by Chelino Sanchez, the great Chelino Sanchez. Rigoberto Campos. They mentioned the Lincoln Grand Marquis, and if you remember back in the day in the '80s, the Grand Marquis was the it was like a very sought after car, you know. Um, for example, Rafael Caro Quintero back in the day in the '80s, this guy was handing out Grand Marquis cars brand new, like hundreds of these, to corrupt officials, to people in the army and law enforcement. So yeah, it was a popular car. Also, when the Archbishop was killed in Guadalajara in 1993 by an Ariano Felix hit squad, they mistook his Grand Marquis for the one that El Chapo was in. They had gotten word that El Chapo was at the airport and he was in a Grand Marquis. And so they come across this same car outside the airport and they assume, oh, it's him. Um, and the same way Rigoberto. Rigoberto Campos was the cousin, if I remember correctly, he's the cousin of El Cochiloco, I believe. And so he was killed. by the Arianos, and the car that he was ambushed in was a Grand Marquis. It was just a popular car at the time, you know. So, uh, are you scared to make a Zeta video? No, I'm not scared. I can cover whatever subject I feel like covering. If I want to make a subject on a certain group or person, then I'll do it. It's the thing that's holding it up is I have to cross reference my info. Let's put it at that. Okay, because sometimes the info that you put out, uh, I try to put it out as accurate as I can. You know, and so the Zetas, I'm thinking of making a video on Tropa del Infierno. It's always been interesting to me their war. If you don't know, the Tropa del Infierno and the state police of Tamaulipas and the local army units that are based around Nuevo Laredo and in Tamaulipas in general, they have a real personal war against Tropa del Infierno. I mean, not all the troops, but I mean, if you get caught by them, you're gonna get effed up if you're Tropa. And the same thing goes for Tamaulipas State Police. Tamaulipas State Police, they don't make this doesn't make the news, but they kidnap Zetas and Tropa del Infierno, and they torture the crap out of them, and they don't make it out. That's why there's so much hate between the state police and Tropa del Infierno. But I mean, in due time, I will bring out a video about them. There's a lot of things in there, and in the history of Los Zetas that is insane, you know. But it will definitely come out. Okay, so this other one is this other corrido. Well, these are actually a bunch of corridos, but they tend to focus on this one person. And if you guys have ever heard of this guy, then you know what I'm talking about. Atanasio Torres Acosta. Who's that? El Tachillo. You still don't know who that is? Okay. Well, Atanasio was the beloved son of Manuel Torres Felix, aka El Ondeado, also better known as El M1. The murder of Tachillo, that was his nickname, that was his son's nickname, Tachillo. The murder of his son by a Zeta's hit squad in 2008 and the hit squad was sent by Arturo Beltran. This had a massive effect on El M1 and his psyche. And he went crazy. He went and from what I've heard, the guy went on like a week-long coke binge. First of all, because you know this, yeah, he's a trafficker, he's a killer, whatever. But this is his son at the end of the day, you know. And so, wait, excuse me for a minute. I'll be right back. So Arturo sends a hit squad, right, to kill El M1's son. And this guy goes crazy. He goes on a big coke binge for like a week. He sends his people out to kidnap anyone they suspected of being involved, and it was a big deal. It was a big thing. His kid just got murdered. His son got murdered. And the one thing, but from this incident, I do remember one detail that stood out to me. I mean, I know this has to do with death, but at the same time, I just noticed these things. And the fact that he was murdered in a pretty nice car. I mean, it was a Lincoln Mark LT pickup. And if you've ever seen them, these are luxury pickups, basically. These pickup trucks. Lincoln had them. They made them for a while here in the States, and they were sold here for a very short amount of time. And so I remember him being killed in this red Lincoln Mark LT. Uh, in the U.S., they weren't very popular. The trucks, they were only around for a very short amount of time. But in Mexico, they kind of gained a following. They gained a following in Mexico for a bit until they were taken off the line. But yeah, that's another incident of a certain car being involved here, or just a truck that stood out to me. Um, Now, to change the subject a little bit, because even though this is cartel talk, it's good to mix it up a bit. So I don't know if anyone has heard about this, but Dutch Schultz, the the 1930s gangster, Jewish New York gangster, he has a treasure out there, right? Yeah, I don't know if you've heard, but he has apparently a buried treasure somewhere in the Catskills of New York. And he was basically like, they were basically the drug traffickers of this country back in the day. That brings me to another point. When people talk about the violence that goes on in Mexico, and they say, well, it's so crazy, the violence is out of control. You have judges and politicians being killed or corrupted. You have the law that has a massive corruption problem. You have criminals that are out there just roaming the streets, committing whatever crime, and with no real danger of them going to jail or prison. And so people forget that in this country, in the U.S., for a time, it resembled the Wild West. It resembled sort of a lawless society, not completely lawless because law enforcement was still there, order was still there, but the level of corruption during the 20s in this country went through the roof. And so it's always interesting to think back and just realize that this country also had a massive corruption problem, a massive organized crime problem, a massive drug problem, but it got through it. It got through it, uh, and hopefully Mexico will get through this, and they will. But before it gets better, it's definitely going to get worse. Before it gets better. Also, this past week, General Cienfuegos was suddenly let go by the U.S. government. He was let go. Charges dropped. Charges for drug trafficking, corruption, they were dropped all of a sudden. Why? The U.S. knows that this man is dirty. Mexico knows this. The general, former general, is dirty. You know, why was he let go? Some people are saying that in exchange for him being let go, someone like Menchel or someone like a higher up in CJNG would be caught and sent to the Americans. But who knows really? I mean, there's another thing that I think a lot of people haven't been have not been talking about as much as they should maybe. And if you want to dig deeper into who really controls a lot of this, it seems like in recent years, former military, generals, corporals, captains, enlisted soldiers, whatever, privates, have been found not to just be training people or leading hit squads, but they've been found to actually lead at the highest levels some of these organizations. Just like Zeta's, the core was made up of military people. CJNG is the core of their war section, their fighters, Grupo Elite. The core of them are military people. Some are from Guatemala, some are Colombian, but these guys are mercenaries through and through, and they're strong military presence in some of these groups. CJNG is one. Sinaloa Cartel is another one that has a lot of paramilitary influence in some of their groups, their enforcement groups. So there's a lot of military people involved in this. Active military people, you know, and it's way more closer than people think. Yeah, I'm gonna do a video on the Lord of the Sky soon. I'm gonna do some of the major figures, um, and certain actions, certain incidents that happened that not many people don't know about. Anthrax, are they back? Uh, Not from what I hear. Some individuals might be claiming the name Anthrax, but as a whole group, no, they're not back. Would I ever do a face reveal? I mean, yeah. I mean, not tonight, but I mean, if you go back to my video, the Battle of Culiacan, you can see my face there. That's where I explain what happened that day when Ovidio was captured by National Guard police. So I do show my face in at least one video. Oh, and I just wanted to remind everyone, if you would like to donate to the channel, that'd be great. Anything you want to send, whatever you want to send to support the channel, send it to Cash App, $Casquillo. Okay? My account is $Casquillo. KAZQUILLO. Casquillo. So if you want to donate, help out the channel, you want to see this channel grow, please feel free to donate through Cash App. Um, and again, subscribe. And also, I wanted to also say that I'm going to release an ebook, and the ebook will be the text and everything I say on the videos. I'm going to I'm gonna release it as an ebook. So if you've watched the videos and but you want to like sit down and read what I actually said, some of the names maybe you didn't understand or you want to read more into it, then I'm gonna put out the all the scripts and all the written material. I'm gonna put it out in an ebook and send me a message. I'm gonna put the info up soon, how you can buy it and where and when. And so yeah, you can have the ebook. You can have all this extra info if you want to dive more deep into this pretty soon. Yeah, I think legalization in Mexico is definitely coming. It's going to be something inevitable because, I mean, who wants in 2020? Who wants to outlaw marijuana? Like it's marijuana. Like who wants to outlaw? Who wants to go through the whole headache of arresting people and putting people in jail and this whole thing over a plant? So it's definitely gonna come. You know, are there any artists involved with narcos? Oh man, yeah, hell yeah. There's a ton of artists. You know, Tito Torbellino. He was heavily involved with the whole mob from Sonora, and he was killed when he was meeting with someone involved in that. He was in the way, and he just happened to be at the wrong time, wrong place, wrong time. He got killed. Ah, what do I think of the Michoacan war? Michoacan is hold on a second. Hey man, what's up to William? What's up, man? What else? Do they finance entertainers? Yeah. For example, I don't know if anyone knows. Yeah, you should know. If you're into corridos, you should know Explosión Norteña. They were a huge group from Tijuana, And in the beginning, when they were just starting out, they were financed by some traffickers with the AFO, with the Ariano people. And some of their first albums, they are heavily repping the Tijuana cartel, the Arianos. So yeah, some of these groups are definitely funded at the beginning by these people. Uh, there's also Los Alegres. I don't know if anyone knows, but Los Alegres are relatives of El Chapo, and they're very close to the family, and they've done a bunch of corridos about him. So there's plenty of artists. Dell Records. I don't know if anyone, yeah, and if anyone's heard of this character named Joel Urea Torres, he's in business with the owner of Dell Records. And who is Joel Urea Torres? Well, he's the son of Javier Torres, the famous J.T. So yeah, the corrido industry and the trafficking industry, they're connected. They're definitely connected. Hey, what's up, Compton, California? Do I think Shadow is gonna get put out of commission? Uh I think that OG Shadow. I mean, I'm assuming you're talking about OG Shadow. I think OG Shadow puts out a lot of info that's interesting, but at the same time, he's chasing the clickbait, and I don't know where he resides or I don't know where he's based, but this is serious info at the end of the day. I myself have gotten death threats. I've gotten plenty of death threats. I've gotten people that have warned me not to report on this stuff anymore. But I mean, I take certain precautions. Now, I don't know what OG Shadow is, his situation is, but it can get dangerous. It can definitely get dangerous. But I just hope that everything goes well for him. Dell got raided because they're connected to certain traffickers. I don't know if it's just. My guess is that it's mainly because of their connection to Joel, but it could be anything. You know, it could be anything. But I do know that they're in business together and they're pretty close. But yeah, I think that's why they got raided, or part of the reason why they got raided. Can I do a video on Nazario Moreno? Yeah, I plan to do one on him, but that probably won't be for some time on that particular person. There's others I'm gonna do, other subjects I'm gonna do than before him, but he will be made. He's very interesting. Anyone from Michoacan? I've never been to Michoacan, but it looks like a beautiful place. Who's Crazy Black? I have to check him out. Fast and Furious. Fast and Furious is very goddamn murky. Um, the whole idea that it was accident these weapons were accidentally lost, and they showed up at shootouts and whatnot. I mean, it's very murky, you know, and this hasn't been the first time that America has trafficked arms to illegal groups. You know, this has happened before. If you remember the Iran Contra, that's what it was. It was drugs and weapons in exchange for money, and this could be something similar. And I want to send a shout out to Cobra. Yeah, thanks for donating, showing some love. What do I think about OG Shadow? Like I said before, I feel like he brings interesting info. You know, he brings up interesting videos, interesting info, but sometimes he may be doing the clickbait thing. I remember back a while ago he claimed that Ovidio or I think it was Ivan. He claimed that Ivan was killed in a car bomb, and that turned out to be false, completely false. And I feel like maybe sometimes he rushes to get a certain story, but it turned out to be wrong, and you know. But I mean, I just wish the best for him, you know. Wait, OG Shadow said he played tennis with Enmayo. Um, I mean, look, you know what? I'm not even gonna touch that one. If OG Shadow said he played tennis and had a couple matches with Enmayo in the mountains somewhere or whatever, hey, I believe that he believes that. Okay, let's leave it at that. But yeah, and so yeah, also the other thing I wanted to touch upon real quickly is if I might have repeated this before, but if anyone is a manager, a talent manager, anyone is in that world, I am currently looking for someone to help me out to bring promo spots and certain deals to the channel. And so if you're into that and you want to collaborate to play the role of manager, talent manager, bringing in deals, so we can this channel can make a bigger income, then hit me up. You know, send me a message. I'll get back to you, and you know, maybe we can work together. Yeah, I'm aware that Borderland Beat got taken down. It sucks because it's a good website, but apparently some narco or someone was threatening to take legal action against them, and they decided the best course of action was to step away from the site for a bit. Hopefully, they'll be back though, you know, because it's very important what they do. Do I think there was a deal to bring Cienfuegos back to Mexico? The, in exchange for Mencho? I don't know. I mean, it's weird because I don't think it really, even if he did tell them certain things, I don't think it changes anything. I don't know. I don't know. It's a weird, weird case, and obviously, it's not what it seems. It's not what they're telling you. There's some things going on in the background. So, but who knows, really? Thoughts on Ed Calderon? Well, okay. Here's my thought. This is my opinion, so take it for what it's worth. But Ed Calderon just seems like he gets most of his info from Nat Geo documentaries, the bad ones, or History Channel documentaries about cartels. Because I mean, imagine this. I'm sorry, but imagine if you remember History Channel. They used to have a series called Gangland, and I mean, it did what it did, right? It was entertaining, but they got a lot of things wrong and just certain exaggerations that were over the top. And so I liken Ed Calderon to that type of entertainment. You know, it's he says a lot of things that I sit back and I'm like, wait, that doesn't sound correct. That doesn't sound like it's based on reality. But I really don't. I haven't gained any new knowledge from this guy. I know he goes on Joe Rogan's podcast. What? I don't know. I guess Joe Rogan should really vet this guy. You know. But hey, he's doing what he's doing, right? I mean, I can't hate too much. But yeah. Anyway, who are all these people watching me? Why don't you put up where you're from? You know, rep your city, rep your state, rep your country, whatever it is. Are you in the U.S., in Mexico, wherever? You know. All right, Cali, Serbia, what's up? We got San Bernardino, Phoenix, what's up? Oh, Kurdistan, that's what's up. Chicago, Cali, Durango in the house, Phoenix, San Antonio, Texas, what's up? Ah, Philadelphia, North Korea. That's right, Texas, man. You know, do you want the one? You know, one of the things I really admire about the red states, Texas and Arizona, you guys get all the best guns. You know, you guys can buy a goddamn cannon probably. But yeah, man, that's what's up. Finiquera. Ooh, South Africa. That's what's up. Oh, we got someone from Russia. Yeah, man, I've noticed that I've gotten a lot more viewers recently from Europe. Um, people from Scotland. Surprisingly, yeah, Scotland. I have a couple fans from Scotland. People from Netherlands. You know, but yeah, it's a bunch of people from everywhere. All right, Cuba. Cuba, that's what's up. Durango. Thank you to all the fans that showing love. And if you want to show more love, keep the channel going, then hey man, feel free to send some love through Cash App. I'm gonna put the link. You can go to any of my videos, and in the comment section and description, you can find my. If you want to send something, whatever you want to send to the account, you can send it to $ Casquillo. But yeah, does CJNG and China have a close relationship? I mean, certain traffickers. I know definitely Mencho has people in. I forget what city in China, but it's one of those southern cities where he gets the a lot of the precursor chemicals. But you know, these are individuals and not large groups. Why the name Casquillo? The name Casquillo is Spanish for bullet casing, at least in Mexico. I don't know about other places, but in Mexico, Casquillo is like what some people call bullet casings. It's not spelled with a K, it's spelled with a C, but I wanted to change it up a bit. Do other places traffic through Mexico? Yeah, they do. I mean, individuals, not large groups, but once in a while you'll have people that traffic through there that are not Mexican. Colombians, Venezuelans, Brazilians. But more often than not, they're going to coordinate or they're going to be associates of established cartel groups, especially if they're moving large weight. Because if not, then they're gonna get ripped off or they're gonna get killed and their drugs stolen. So, but yeah, once in a while, sometimes there are foreign groups that traffic through there, but it's very rare that they do it completely by themselves. You know, they usually have some help, some Mexicans, local Mexicans, and local politicians. Will hard drugs be legalized in this country or in Mexico? I mean, if you're talking about this country, then I mean, it will take a while for all hard drugs to be legalized. In Oregon, they're already legalized to use for all hard drugs to be legalized. You know, most people are just scared of what can happen. But in Portugal, I believe they legalized heroin, coke in the 90s, and supposedly it had a positive effect. I'm not too sure about it, but the one thing is true is that the drug war is not working. So, okay. So apparently they are legalized in Oregon. I mean, not legalized in Oregon, just decriminalized. Wait, is that true? Legal for possession, illegal to sell. Okay, well, yeah, that sounds about right. I mean, they're not gonna make them totally legal, but I guess people addicted won't go to jail in such high numbers as before. Hopefully. I mean, because politicians say one thing and they end up doing something else. So, yeah, Tijuana is, yeah, that is not, it's not fully controlled by one group. Tijuana is, there's a lot of free agents there. So yeah, Tijuana is one of those one of those plazas that it has an owner, but he doesn't have complete control over the city. I mean, it belongs to CAF. Don't get me wrong. Like I said, Tijuana has a plaza boss. Don't get me wrong, it does. But he doesn't. I mean, he doesn't. From what I know, he doesn't control the entire city and the suburbs and the outlying areas. You know. So, but hey, man, CAF, Los Arianos are still strong. I mean, they're not as strong as before, but they're still around. Is Narcos Mexico accurate? Uh, how did they smuggle 50 calibers? They break them down. They break them down into parts and they put them into a crevice or a hidden compartment somewhere. And it's easy. I mean, my family that will sometimes go into Mexico, they'll drive into Mexico and they will barely get searched, or questioned even. Honestly, they won't really get questioned at all. So it's pretty easy. It's actually pretty easy to smuggle it in. And some of the border patrol, yeah, some of the border patrol is in on the take. They and I'm not just talking about the Mexican border patrol. I'm talking about the U.S. You know, the U.S. border patrol. They're as crooked as a Tijuana beat cop. All right, border patrol. You won't believe the corruption that goes on between them. And I think another thing also about the weapons in Mexico. You know how some people say that the weapons are not U.S. origin, that they come from other countries. There's plenty of weapons that do arrive in Mexico from other countries. You have weapons from China, you know, from Belgium or whatever. But the majority, from what I've seen, are weapons that come from the U.S. That's the majority. I mean, from what I've seen. The RPGs. Oh, the rocket propelled grenades. Yeah. Okay, so I've heard from certain people that a lot of these rocket launchers are from Central America, primarily from El Salvador or Nicaragua. The RPGs, the ones that I've seen, I'm not saying all of them, but the ones that I've seen originally came from El Salvador or Nicaragua. Now, there are also RPGs that come from places like Colombia and Venezuela. Now, those RPGs do have origins in from Russia, directly from Russia. But remember, there were also copies made. How there's the AK-47 is originally from Russia, but China, Egypt, all these other countries they can make their own copies. Well, the same thing is true for RPGs, and they come from the ones in Mexico. The ones I've seen have primarily come from Central America. Um, I'm not saying El Salvador produces the RPG. What I'm saying is the RPGs were sold from a manufacturing country like Russia or China, not China, Russia or I believe Cuba. Cuba, I think, had supplied the FMLN with some RPGs back in the 80s. But I'm saying these weapons change hands all the time. OG Shadow. I don't want to talk too much about the subject because I feel like OG Shadow, like I said before, OG Shadow brings these interesting titles to the mix, but sometimes he gets it wrong. And like I think one time he said that Ivan was killed in a car bomb, and that turned out to be false. And I mean, it is what it is. Everyone makes mistakes, right? But if you're gonna put out a title where Ivan, a major cartel figure, you're claiming had just got killed by a bomb, then it should be accurate. But I just wish the best for him. I really do. I'm surprised that nobody has made a backyard weapon factory. Well, CJNG has their weapons factories. They buy their own machinery, their own tools, their own tooling machinery, industrial machines that can carve metal and make uppers and lower receivers for ARs, and they can repair their AKs and whatnot. So they do have their own factories, actually. Yeah, these guys have their own gunsmiths. Yeah, guys. I'm about to sign off now. Stay tuned for a new video. It'll be coming out soon. And again, if you want to donate, just donate to my Cash App, which is here. I'm going to leave on the screen. And you can donate whatever you guys feel. So, everyone have a good night. Stay safe. And do not let the Rona get to you. You know? All right, everyone. I'll catch you later. Casquillo.